Hello and welcome, friends. Welcome to another episode where I review Romanian made fountain pens. Today I have for you what I think it is a transitional model between the old communist made fountain pens and the new generation of fountain pens produced after the 1990s. So, guys, I have here a interesting fountain pen. And what identifies it as a Flaro product is this piece of plastic at the end of the barrel. You can see Flaro engraved. Let me show it in a better lighting. Yes, Flaro engraved at the end of the barrel. But usually, Flaro they thermically imprint the name model on the plastic barrel, but not in this case, guys. Now, before I will present you this no-name fountain pen, I have here an old fountain pen from the 1970s. You can see the similarities between them. This one is a Flaro Vega SM from the 1970s. And you can see what I mean. It is thermically imprinted on the barrel Flaro, the name of the producer, and the model name Vega SM. It has a pressure fit cap, and as a filling mechanism, it has what I call a integrated ink converter, in the sense that you can't remove it from the main body of the fountain pen. So this is the old type from the 1970s. Now guys, let me show you some colorful fountain pens. In fact, I think that Flaro named them Flaro Pastel. And it's interesting that they don't have the model name engraved on the plastic body. They have the same type of identification mark at the end of the barrel, Flaro. They have this interesting Flaro nib, and on the back we have this quite nice looking transparent feed. And I have different variants, so the same color, the same identification, and the same transparent feed. Of course, it is inked, it is dirty with ink, this one. And I have also another variant of this, also with the transparent feed. What is interesting about those fountain pens made after the 1990s, and an interesting fact which distinguished them from the communist-made fountain pens, is the filling mechanism. And for the first time, guys, we have an ink converter, quite classic one, but it is a removable ink converter. So back in the 1990s, after the Romanian Revolution, the market was flooded with Western products and products that before weren't available in Romania. And they introduced also the ink cartridges. I remember back in my school days that the ink cartridge models with ink cartridges were considered superior than the old Chinese made fountain pens which had an aromatic filling mechanism, and of course of the old Flaro which were leaking because of the bad quality. Well guys, this fountain pen is quite interesting. You can see the cap is metallic, it was nickel plated, the nickel plating has faded away in time. The cap has this flat ending, similar in a way with the ending of the Flaro Vegas from the 1970s. But what is quite interesting about this fountain pen, of course, is this modern logo, which I believe they used after the 1990s. And these guys, the grip section and the nib itself. Let me give you a little zoom. So you can see the tines are slightly separated, but that separation goes on into the grip section, and you know it isn't an accident, it is a design. It was designed like this, and I'm not so sure, maybe for the flexibility of the nib. I can hardly wait to do the writing sample for you guys and to see how this beautiful fountain pen works. At the back, we don't have the usual ebonite feed that we are familiar with on the Flaro made in the communist period. In fact, we have a feed, and I'm not so sure if it's transparent or simple white, but it perfectly matches the color of the grip section, and the color is a light blue, guys. The barrel unscrews, and surprise, surprise, we have a communist trait, an integrated piston filler or an integrated ink converter. Just look at this piston. It is functional, I believe. It has a little crack here, but I hope that we can do the writing sample and it won't leak. And this is it, guys. So this is the simple fountain pen. It is a nice combination between old and new. Due to the fact that it has no name on the barrel, I think it is a prototype or at least a limited edition model made by Flaro. So maybe an experimental nib with that interesting grip section. We will see, guys, how it writes. For you to have an idea of the dimension of this fountain pen, I always have on my desk the famous Montblanc Meisterstück 146. This is a model from the 1980s. You can see it is slightly smaller in the length term and definitely slimmer than the fat Montblanc. And guys, I will also leave the dimensions of our Flaro on the screen. For the moment, I will call it a Flaro prototype for lack of a better name. I already did a review of an interesting fountain pen that was made by Flaro and had the bird's name, and I thought to myself, because of the fact that it has those two tines separated, it makes me think of a bird that has a similar tail separated. Maybe I will nickname this prototype in that way. I will think about it. So guys, I left you the dimensions of this fountain pen. Now it's time for the writing sample. And due to the fact that we have that piston and maybe it needs a little bit of lubrication, I will use the Parker Quick Ink. You know, when it comes to lubricating all pistons, I highly recommend it. But of course, after you properly clean the fountain pen. I didn't have time to clean this pen, and I'm sorry for that, guys, but I will try to fill it as it is. So I will remove this cap. I will open it. Let me give you a little zoom. So I have to turn this. You can see the piston moving inside, that opaque red window, and it is fully it has fully reached the end. Now guys, I will just open the ink bottle, give it a little shake. I will use it like this. Now let me show you what I'm going to... Okay. I will place it like this, guys. I will insert it like this in ink. And now I'm trying to draw as much ink as I can. Let me see. We have a decent amount of ink. I believe it is sufficient for our writing sample. Let me take out of a little tissue to clean the grip section. Okay. Maybe a little zoom for you to see. Okay, it is properly cleaned. Now guys, I'm just trying to test it. Let me write something here. It doesn't write, but I will get to it in a minute. Let me change the angle of the camera. Okay guys, let me see what is wrong with it, and I will clean it. A bad thing about this cut in the grip section is that it can hold little bits of ink. It certainly draw, as you can see, some ink here. Now I will try to see. So I will turn the knob in the other way. I'm trying to bring the ink to the nib section. Let me see. Oh yes, you can see the crack, guys, right here. Well, this is a bad thing. So we definitely have a leak here, especially when I apply that pressure for the ink to... I think not. Let me see. So I will do the opposite way, like I'm drawing the ink, you see guys. Now I will clean the barrel, and now let me see if I can write with it. No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. But even if I could write with it, I don't think it's possible because it has those tines way separated. And it reminds me of a broken flex nib. You know, when you have a flex nib and you push it to its limits and the tines remain this way, it means they need to be put back together again. In fact, you already can see. Let's just dip it in ink, guys. And sorry, I just want you to see how this writes. So a Flaro, you can see Flaro. You can see the thick lines, and this is due to the separated tines. Let me show you. Okay, so definitely you will see a juicy nib, no line variance, and it barely writes. Definitely, let me see, like a reverse. It scratches a little bit in reverse writing. What can I say, guys? This is a faulty fountain pen. Maybe I will tell you about the quick brown fox as an ending to our story. So let me tell you about the quick, brown, fox, jumps. You can see I already need some little bit of ink. So jumps over the lazy dog. So this was it, guys. This is one of the last attempts to design something interesting. I believe because the lack of funds, Flaro had a difficult transition from the communist planned economy to the capitalist economy of the 1990s. They certainly tried with those pastels fountain pens to adapt to the new world of writing instruments, and I think they did okay till 2000 when they changed their focus of production from writing instruments to building other plastic industrial products. I'm not so sure about this aspect. A certain fact is they still produce, they have in their portfolio a fountain pen, but the nib is outsourced, is made somewhere in Italy, and I believe only the body is made in Romania. So you can call this fountain pen the Swan Song, one of the last prototypes. It certainly is quite odd and curious to see that tines, separated tines, and this thing over here. I don't know the role of it. Maybe you will write it in the comments. Well, guys, thank you for your time. I hope you've enjoyed this strange review of a mysterious fountain pen. As always, wherever you are, I want to wish you to have a nice day. I will certainly go and clean myself after this little incident with the fountain pen. If you've enjoyed this small presentation or review of an interesting Romanian-made fountain pen, please subscribe to my channel to see other fountain pens, vintage, new, modern, and used, being reviewed on my channel. Thank you for being part of this journey of discovering fountain pens. It is a pleasure to share them with you. Please stay safe in this pandemic time. I will see you again at the next episode. Till then, bye bye. And God bless.